All right, welcome everybody. I am Miranda Levers, COO here at Thinkific, and I am very excited to be talking today with Lou Bortone, who's been known as the video godfather in some circles, and excited to have him here chatting with us today. Welcome, Lou.
Thank you, Miranda. Great to be here.
Great. For those of you not familiar with Lou, Lou is a pioneer and thought leader in the online video space. He's helped thousands of entrepreneurs and small business owners, just like a lot of you, create and leverage online video to build their brands and dramatically grow their own revenues. Prior to that, he spent 20 years as a marketing executive in senior roles for companies like E! Entertainment Television and Fox Family Worldwide. So he's definitely had a lot of different exposure to different facets of video and has really been diving into the online space the past over a decade, I believe. And so we're excited to have him here.
Thanks. I have my green screen all set up so you can tell I've been in production mode lately.
Perfect. What are you working on right now?
All kinds of fun stuff. I mean, I'm always doing courses and classes because, as you know, the video marketing space changes so quickly. You have to constantly keep everything updated and try and stay ahead of the curve. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of video courses. I'm doing what I call a video marketing reset to help people get ready for 2018, because I think a lot of folks realize that they could and should be doing video, but they're just a little bit behind the curve. So they're trying to kind of get up and running.
Yeah, great. I know that as small business owners, lots of times we're trying to wear many hats, and I feel that marketing is often only just one of them, which means video marketer is like an even smaller smaller one. So for some of our audience members who maybe haven't dipped their toe into the world of video marketing just yet, thinking about their plans for 2018 and how they want to get started, what's a really low touch way for somebody to just start to get started that maybe isn't going to take up a ton of time, but has good potential for impact right out of the gate?
Right. I think the easiest thing now is probably Facebook Live, or even doing a Zoom meeting like this. You have a lot of flexibility, especially Facebook Live. I mean, you don't necessarily have to edit. I think the expectations are a little lower, so it's a little less formal. And really, it's so easy. It's just a couple taps on your phone or your desktop, and you're live. So it's something that we could only have dreamed about 10 years ago. So very
cool.
Easy to do it that way.
And what about for somebody who maybe has been doing a little bit more, they've done the Facebook Lives, they've probably got a YouTube channel that isn't necessarily getting the results that they want, and they're thinking about ways that they can ramp up their marketing game coming into the new year. What's on the horizon? Like, what do they need to know about that's new now or upcoming?
Yeah, I think one of the things, which is not really new, but as people start to ramp up, I think they need to realize that the assets or the intellectual property that they have is probably much closer to being a product or a course than they realize. Again, which is one of the reasons I love Thinkific, because I can kind of bang out courses and get them up quickly without having to worry about all the e-commerce and stuff like that. So I think folks who are starting to ramp up have to think about, what do I already have? What digital assets do I have? Or what expertise do I have that can be packaged as a video course? Because I think that seems to be the way people want to consume information these days. I know you've seen the same thing where, Facebook is doing much more video, LinkedIn's doing video, even Twitter's doing, live video. So I think the more we do that, the more comfortable we're going to get, and the more success they're going to have.
Okay, let's dig into that a little bit more. I'd love to know, like, if that's a technique that you've used yourself, or if there have been any particularly innovative repurposing scenarios that you've encountered.
Yeah, there's a few things. I mean, one of the things that I'm excited about now is this augmented reality, and I just started kind of looking into this, and that's something where I can have a business card, and if you use an iPhone app, a video will play from the business card. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So
oh, wow.
It really starts to bring, your traditional old school print pieces to life. You can also do it on a book cover.
Yeah.
So you point the phone in the app. It's sort of like a glorified QR code, but a video plays off the book, and you're just looking at it and saying like, oh my God, I can't believe it. A video is playing from print. And I think we'll see a lot more of that sort of augmented reality, video showing up in the craziest places you can imagine.
Very cool. And if somebody wants to learn more about that or read more about that, where do they go?
I actually have a site devoted just to that at myvideocards.com.
Very
And
cool.
I'm going to send out like the Christmas postcards that I'm going to send out this year are going to play video. And I mean, I'm just, it's a way to really have an impact and bring video to something where people don't really expect it.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you mentioned Christmas coming up and video cards. For something like that, are you doing, like, how are you bringing the personalization into that at all, or are you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways. I mean, with the overall video card, which is why I have the green screen up, I have like a fun little North Pole thing, and I'll pull out my Santa hat and make
Love
a
it.
fool of myself. But the other way I do it on a little bit more personal level is I use tools like Loom, which is useloom.com. And it's a really, really easy way to record yourself on the screen. It's free, and it puts you sort of in a little inset within the website. So I can, go to a holiday site, or I can go to one of my own websites and do a very personal message and send it to them via Gmail or Facebook. And they open up their mail and they get a video with me in the corner. So very personal, very impactful, and I think really a unique way to stand out among all the other, barrage of emails that we get.
So Lou, you mentioned teaching, and I know that you've been doing lots of teaching. You've had a really busy year, it looks like, with lots of new courses and
Yep.
different programs for your audience. I know that you've also got a mastermind coming up in Italy. I'd love to hear a little bit about that. But what I really want to know about is sort of like the one step beyond just the teaching. So I want to know about some of the outcomes that your students have experienced and have told you about, and kind of like maybe a couple of ideas around the actions that they took and ultimately what the outcomes were for them. Share some stories with us.
Yeah, I think part of it's just an overall, like for a lot of clients, they've realized that when they start doing video, they really start to get traction, and they realize, oh my gosh, that was so much easier than I thought, or so much less intimidating than I thought. And I always tell folks, you can start with sort of hybrid videos. Like if we're doing a Zoom, you can just come on camera for a moment at the beginning and then switch to slides or switch to a demo. So I always tell folks, video is a lot of different things. It's not just a talking head, head and shoulders kind of thing. You can do courses, you can do webinars, you can do slides. So that's one thing. And then the other thing in terms of the impact is just having folks tell me that, the results that they're getting, and that all of a sudden, they tried everything and then they finally did video, and that's sort of the thing that broke through. I have a client in Costa Rica who owns a vacation property there, and she was kind of having trouble, it's a high ticket item, and she was kind of having trouble filling the space, and there were weeks going, when the place was empty, and she was really technophobic, had no video experience whatsoever, but she started doing these little really informal tips with her iPhone about Costa Rica. Here's what you need to expect, here's the best beach, here's this. So doing these little videos, and I look a couple months later and I'm still in touch with her, but she's got 250,000 views on her little Costa Rica tips videos.
That's amazing.
I call and I say, oh yeah, we're booked 2 years in advance and we're booked solid. And I'm like, so you did all that with your iPhone and an idea? And, we kind of got her up and running, and she learned a little bit of editing on iMovie. So it really, pleases me to see somebody go from sort of like 0 to 250,000 video views on YouTube with a video that she did on her iPhone.
Oh, that's incredible. And was that really, like, did the traffic mostly just come in from organic search?
Yeah, a lot of that. And, we optimized her YouTube channel and did the right keywords. And, when doing the videos, we're thinking, okay, well, don't just do a video, try and find out what people are searching for when it comes to Costa Rica. It's like, is it safe to travel? And what are the roads like? And, what are the top sites? So her videos were, strategic, even though they were very folksy and informal, they were still strategic in terms of what people were searching for. So yeah, it's just a ton of organic views and SEO and word of mouth.
That's super inspiring. I know that so many people are intimidated to start, or will say things like, I just have an iPhone, I can't afford fancy equipment. But I think that story speaks volumes in terms of the impact that you can have with what you already have in your pocket, literally.
Right. And it's really more about the content than the quality. And that's, again, why I always go back to Facebook Live, because these are things where somebody's, at a soccer game or something, and they're just holding their phone. And sometimes those are the best videos. I mean, I have an example last week. I do lots of tips videos and stuff that's a little bit more formal and serious, but I did sort of a rant because I knocked my tooth out a few weeks ago.
Oh
And
dear.
I'm like, how am I going to do video? I have no tooth and blah, blah, And, the no tooth video got like 1,000 views on Facebook Live, 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, this video that I worked on for 3 hours gets 48 views.
Yeah.
About getting my tooth knocked out, and that's got 1,000. So I think you have to inject yourself and your life into your videos.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm curious, I know that you've seen lots of different things, lots of things that work, lots of things that haven't worked. What is the most surprising to you, maybe subject matter that actually did work when it came to video? So did somebody market something really wacky or achieve success?
Folks that are like sex coaches, and I'm like, oh my God, I shouldn't even be listening. So it's really just a matter of putting yourself and your passion and your interest into your videos and really thinking about the viewer and the end user and sort of getting the focus off of you, because that's when people say, I don't like being on camera. I don't either, really, but I say it's not about you, it's about them.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the really turning points, is to start to think like, look, focus on your message and your passion, and don't worry about, I mean, I told somebody I was wearing a baseball cap earlier, so I'm having a bad hair day, but I'm still doing the video, so.
Yeah, see, I just wore a hat and then my bad hair day doesn't matter. So yeah, I mean, that definitely touches on the fact that people often are intimidated or nervous about getting in front of a camera. I always try to think about what the worst case scenario is and recognize that it's probably not going to be that bad. Right. I think your tooth story is probably like one of the best answers to this question, but I'm curious about maybe some of the bloopers or the oopses or embarrassing moments that you've seen, maybe experienced yourself, or that you've experienced with clients of yours, and maybe a funny story about something along the way.
I have plenty myself, and in fact, my client Evelyn from Costa Rica would put her outtakes in and her bloopers in at the end of the video, which I know a lot of gurus do, and it was just brilliant because people would stay to the end of the video to watch the mistakes. One of my sort of memorable ones that I keep thinking about is I had been on the board of directors for a children's organization, and one year we were doing an event and I was in charge of renting the Bob the Builder costume. He's got this big head and I had to wear the costume, and I said, well, as long as I have this costume, I'm going to do some videos with it. And I was at home with my Bob the Builder thing, doing videos on the green screen, and it was August and it was really hot. And I only know from watching the video that I passed out.
Oh no!
There's just this big wobbly bob head, and all of a sudden you just see, and it was like, okay, that's the video, and it is what it is. And I think those are the things where people see, all right, you're human, you're crazy, things happen, and life goes on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that you brought that back again to the human element, because to me that's what video really is able to accomplish, which is, we're on our computers. Many of us spend our entire lives just on our computers, and being able to actually look at like face to face and smile and see somebody, and the recognition then beyond just the professional demeanor, but the recognition that there really is another person on the other side of the screen. What about, just for one more story, anything particularly touching or meaningful or heartwarming, or maybe a connection that then was able to translate into sort of the real world?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of things. In fact, because I know I mentioned earlier those virtual business cards, and I saw one where a veteran and somebody overseas, got one with their son or daughter, a video. To be able to play a video off of a postcard, it was really powerful, because to me it's about connection. And video connects, and it doesn't matter whether it's coming off of a business card or a YouTube video. It's just that idea that, that immediate connection, that you're almost with the person, even though you may be half a world away.
Nice. So yeah, we talked a little bit about, some quick ways that people can start or get started. And I know that, once people have been video marketing maybe for a while and really wanting to step up their game, there's lots of opportunities there. You've got some courses, that kind of thing. And probably more near and dear to my heart, because I love travel, is that you are heading to Italy. So tell us about that.
We're going to Tuscany. I rented a 9-room villa in Tuscany in the countryside, and we actually did it last year, so it's proof of concept that it actually works and that you actually can get work done while you're gallivanting around Italy. So I thought, if I'm going to do a marketing event, I'm not going to go to the Holiday Inn Express. I'm going to go someplace crazy, 5,000 miles away where I don't speak the language, and just, really bring people for an experience. And, if you have to shoot video, what better backdrop than hill towns in Italy and things like that. So it was pretty amazing. We're going to do it again. It's just a great way to, well, for me, it was a great way to get a free trip to Italy, because that's the only way I can afford to do it. I have 2 kids in college, so I'm like, how can I go to Italy and make it into an event and a tax write-off? And so, yeah, we brought the whole gang, and we did sessions, video marketing sessions in the morning, and shot video. It was just a beautiful place to shoot video. And then, afternoons and evenings we'd brainstorm and socialize and mastermind. And it's amazing, because when you get away from the day-to-day and you get far away from your everyday environment, there are a lot of ahas and sort of transformational moments out there.
And so you said you've got a small 9-room villa, so that's a small mastermind group. Who is it perfectly for? So like, who is listening to this show right now, and like, who is the perfect person to attend this, who really needs to know more?
It's somebody that's, been in business for a little while and is ready to really up level and kind of go to the next level. Maybe sort of like, almost like, okay, I'm almost at 6 figures, but I've been stuck there for a while and I want to really, ramp it up. Because a lot of it's about, sort of automation and getting out of your own way, and really starting to look at ways that video, I say, I get this sort of I see you everywhere thing, because I do so much video. And it's like, okay, well, if you want to clone yourself and not have to be every place at the same time, we'll show you how to do video in such a way that you get that I see you everywhere effect.
Nice. And so I think that's at videomarketingmastermind.com. Is that where people can find out?
Yep.
Great. And for the people who can't join you in Italy, let's talk a little bit more about the book.
Oh, the book, yes. Video Marketing Rules. I just finished this very recently, and it's interesting because this came out of a course. I mean, I had the course and I had the modules and I had everything there actually on Thinkific, and I really just started pulling those pieces out and turning it into a book. Like each module is a chapter, and it's really about repurposing. It's like, okay, if I've got a course about video marketing, why not do a book about it? Because especially if you want to do more speaking and more appearances and things like that, it's great to have that sort of, gigantic business card for folks. So so that really came out of a course, and it also came out of my desire to, try and have a book for many years. I had done some ghostwriting in sort of in a past life. I'm like, I really should do my own book. So
yeah. Great. And what is the kind of the format of the book? And the reason I ask that is because sometimes it's like, really good information where you kind of read the whole thing, but then you have to kind of go take action after, versus more instructional throughout. Where does your book land, and what can people expect?
Interactive sort of go do this now and come back when you're done, try this Facebook Live, or here's a new way to do video. It also has a lot of tools and resources, Thinkific among them, actually. It's mentioned quite a few times.
Great.
So it's just a way to, take action and go and do video. And again, it's, we don't talk about a lot of technology or equipment. It's really more about the marketing. The fact that the book is more like a guidebook, you can sort of go in and say, I need to know how to do this, or what are best practices for Facebook Live, or how do I get a course up and running? So it's really more of almost like a reference book, and sort of a very much take action kind of book, not really theory, but like, hey, go do this stuff.
So on the topic of taking action, if we were to kind of off the top of our heads come up with a 3-challenge plan maybe, or like, what can people walk away from today and implement like in the next 24 hours from a business video marketing perspective? What can we give our listeners?
I think most entrepreneurs are sitting on a gold mine, which is their expertise, and they can go on a format like Zoom or Loom that we mentioned earlier, Zoom or Loom, and just basically, talk a little bit about their expertise, or give their top 3 tips in their niche, or whatever it may be, or maybe even show slides or show their screen, and realize that, oh my God, I went on camera and I shared content and I didn't, die. I didn't get struck by lightning. It wasn't that difficult. So I think that's one. Another one is really to start packaging your expertise and doing those video courses, because people really want to consume information that way. I mean, you just have to look at YouTube and the amount of traffic that they get. And that really proves that that's the way we want to consume our information and entertainment. And then the third thing is really just to, be yourself, put your personality in the video, and don't be afraid to screw up or be goofy. Those are sometimes the best moments.
I love it. I love it. You mentioned YouTube, and I did earlier as well. So that's one place to put content, to put video content. And I know that there's lots of different things going on with, Facebook, I think deprioritized it. Like, I don't think that the YouTube videos show as highly on Facebook, and they favor their own videos now, and lots of different things going on there. So what should people do? Like, so somebody creates a video, they got that courage, they did it. Yep. Where should it go, and how do they get people to see it?
Right. Anywhere and everywhere is the short answer. But I tell folks that they should find their video sweet spot. And what I mean by that is, you're going to find where your ideal audience is. So that's probably going to be your primary place where you upload video. And that may be your own website or blog. It may be Facebook. It may be YouTube. It may be Instagram. So you have to kind of find where your peeps are and make sure that the video, is available to them. And then it's so easy to share and repurpose across platforms that, why not put it on LinkedIn? Why not put it on Twitter? Because it's really just a few more clicks to get that video from one place to many places.
Mm-hmm. And do videos suffer from any of the duplicate content penalties like text content would?
I haven't really run into that at all. Especially since, Facebook and YouTube, which are, arguably the big two, don't really talk to each other that much. So, I upload natively or directly to Facebook rather than trying to share from YouTube. But again, for me, it just depends where your audience is. If you have maybe, a younger millennial crowd, it's like, okay, maybe Snapchat's the right platform for you. So it's really just a matter of, what's the best platform for your business, and, you find your sweet spot and you go with it.
And then what about measuring success of video that we're putting up there? So how can somebody who's maybe, has dabbled with video, they might have a YouTube channel with I don't know, a handful of videos, but they're not necessarily sure how to even know if it's working, if it's not working, what good looks like.
Yeah, I mean, and YouTube gives you a huge amount of analytics, so you can really drill down and see what's going on. But I think the best way is, not necessarily judging by views, but judging by the engagement and the interaction and the feedback that you get. I mentioned I have a couple kids in college, and I made some goofy video, and my daughter said, "Oh, Dad, everybody in my such and such class love your video." I'm like, well, that doesn't help me at all, because that's not my target market. I'm like, okay, that's very amusing, but I don't care. Those views are basically useless to me. I'd rather have, 3 coaches and consultants see it than 100 students from a college. So you really have to focus on your target market and try and reach them, get them where they're at, and don't get hung up on views, because you don't necessarily need 100,000 views to have a successful business. You just need the right viewers.
What are some of the tips that you can share about prompting more engagement from video so it doesn't just feel one way?
Right. I think you really have to ask for it and think about it as a two-way conversation. And, you may leave it open-ended. Obviously, you want to have a call to action at the end of your video. A lot of folks, especially newer folks, try and squeeze everything into one video. So it's like, oh yeah, and follow me on Facebook and go to my website and here's my Twitter. It's like, hey, what's that main call to action that you want them to take? And you sort of have to kind of hit them over the head with it so that they do it. And it may be as simple as, hey, comment below and tell me what you think of this video, or, tell me if you think I'm crazy, or, really engage and ask for the feedback. Because if you don't ask for it, they're just going to be on to the next cat video.
What else do I want to ask? What do you want? What do you want our listeners to know? So we're talking to a bunch of busy entrepreneurs and small business owners who are often wearing all of the hats in their business and trying to really maximize their time. So what else do you want to tell these guys? What do you want them to know going into 2018?
Yeah, I think it's that, obviously video is not going away. It's getting more and more prominent. It's really getting, it's driving the internet, really. And, you can either sort of ignore it and hide your head in the sand, or do kind of a half-assed effort, or you can really commit and pour yourself into it and realize that, hey, this doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to do, a 30 module course, or I don't have to do a 18-part series. It really can just be doing video when, you know, you knock a tooth out and you want to engage with your audience and tell them why you look kind of funny when you're doing your videos. So, and I, you know, somehow managed to turn that, you know, into monetize it into promoting a course or something. But, you know, the stuff isn't going away, and it's much, much easier than people think when they find their sweet spot and they kind of get into a system and a process that they can do it more consistently.
Good advice. When it comes to, you did mention CTAs, and I imagine that you've experimented with lots of different CTAs and types of CTAs to close off your video. What works? What doesn't work?
I think really just a direct, something that's obviously related to the video that you're talking about. So it may be as simple as, you know, hey, if you're on YouTube, watch the next video. And, you know, if you've got an end card on your video, that's sort of like a natural, like, okay, don't go watch that cat video, watch this other video. So I think it's really a matter of asking for exactly what you want and being very clear about it, and, you know, not trying to give the viewer too many choices.
Yeah, very nice.
I like sales pages because it's sort of like, here's the video, here's the buy button, you know, you can either buy or go away. Those are your choices. So
right on. All right. Yeah, so I'm excited because I do think that video is, it's something that we're ramping up here. I'm on the call with you today for exactly that reason. And mostly I'm always excited about ways that the entrepreneurs and small businesses that we work with can really do more with their efforts and be able to scale their impact. And I know that video marketing is one of those ways that they can really do that. I'm hoping that our listeners have learned a couple of good tips, and more importantly, I hope that they go and check out more. Lou's got all sorts of great courses and his book, and potentially you will make me jealous by heading off to Italy in the summer. You can find his stuff at loubortone.com, and you'll be able to find that link down below this video. And I hope that people will come back here and maybe share some of their successes with video. And thanks so much, Lou, for joining me today.
Thank you, Miranda. I appreciate it.
Cheers.